Not, we'll move on to H, which is consideration of approving specifications and taking sealed bids for pool heater at the Sac Aquatic Center. Pardon me? Yes.
I've been working with our friends at Jerry Plumbing, who of course is the local business entity that currently provides support for our pool heater. A couple of things we discovered through this process, and I wanted to educate the council on it as we go through the packets. One of the things we learned is that the average pool heater is a 5 to 10 year model. The warranties on these units are typically roughly a 3-year warranty that's offered on the models. There was a lot of discussion about whether or not our pool heater had done well or not. Our pool heater is now 9 years old. So if you look at the average age of 5 to 10 years, 9 years is not an unusual small or large number of years for a pool heater to last. Our current model, of course, we use a natural gas model to operate our heating unit there. That is factored in here, plus the size necessary to operate and heat our pool. You'll see that there are some ranges for input and output to BTUs. And I will tell you that there's roughly only 2 companies that either myself or Jerry's Plumbing have been able to identify that actually manufacture heating units of this magnitude, of this size. If we don't find any others, right now the bids would be going out to representatives of that represent Lochnabar or Rayvac. Yes, well, thank you.
Have you checked with any other entities that have heating swimming pool heaters? What do you recommend, other towns, hey,
Yeah, I talked to 3 or 4 different towns. I was also talking with them about Red Cross classes to help us with our issues with needing Red Cross certifications for our guards. And during those conversations, I hit them up about pools. I ran into a lot of indoor pools, of course, use smaller heating models. So I found right away you can't use indoor pools as a consideration. The outdoor pools I did talk to that heater units. These are comparable. Some of them have electric models, so it's a little bit different in their world as far as how they supply the heat. The one thing I did hear about the electric models, though, is that most of the entities that had electric models weren't particularly all that happy with them because it takes longer to heat up, and it seems to require, everybody thinks you have cost savings there, but in the end, with the additional amount of time and effort it takes to heat the water, there was really a question
about whether if we own the gas company.
Correct.
Don't even go there.
Is there any other discussion or questions for Adam about this? And if not,
Did you have on MGM, are they just have a chance to bid, or do you talk to them about
it? I mean, we will be happy to let any entity that wants to bid as a distributor or as a third-party seller of these units.
And you just kind of worked with Jerry to get a bid package?
Correct, because they have up till now with our current unit been the entity that works and maintains our current model. Our concern was making sure. I referred with them simply for the fact of identifying what information we would want to use in the spec. And you might notice that as far as the specs go, they are very generic, and they are very generic for a purpose. We did not want to exclude anyone who could possibly bid. You might notice that probably the most specific piece of information in your instruction sheet, of course you have an instruction page there, but you might notice that the pool heater bid form, I'm asking them not only to give us a total bid amount, but I'm asking them to also give us an itemized breakdown of what the different sections of their bid would cost. So that while we will be reviewing it based upon total bid, it will at least give us an opportunity to take into consideration what the different costs within the actual process would be. Because you're talking about pool heater, you're talking about installation cost, you're talking about removal of the old unit, wiring and venting changes that will be necessary, and of course the last thing would be a startup test to make sure that the unit is operating correctly, which is pretty standard practice for these type of units.
My only question question on this. Is your little item in here, or your little line in here that says, this item is not an anticipated budgetary expense?
Correct, within the memo, correct?
Correct.
Yes. It was not expected this fiscal year that we would be replacing it. It's a 2011-2012 unit on our CIP budget. However, the indications we are getting both from our employees and from Jerry's Plumbing and from the manager at the pool is that this heating unit needs to be replaced immediately.
So where are we going to get the money paid for this? Are we going to take it out of the gas budget?
It would be a general fund.
No pickup.
It would be a general fund item.
Well, that's what I was
pool is
getting
funded
at.
through
Do
the
we do
general
the
fund.
pickup or the heater?
It is a general funded item. It would be funded through the general fund.
So then we would have the money to do that.
I mean, we would basically be cutting into reserves within the general fund to pay for this.
So I didn't know whether we had a can to pick up or what are we going to talk about?
Ask John to pick up our cannon.
Yeah, that's a big can.
In reality, to some degree, yes. This is one of the items, along with the weather, that is a factor in the fact that you have not seen, as is planned in the CIP budget, a proposal to go out for bids on a police vehicle as was planned. And that has everything to do with the fact that there are unexpected costs of both the weather and conditions that we experienced during December and January, and also the fact that this heater for the pool had to be moved up as an emergency need item.
All right.
Is there any other discussion, or are there any other questions? And if not, I would take a motion to approve those specifications.
So moved.
A second, please.
I'll second it.
Have Ducky looked at him?
Looked at
Terry, for specs?
the specs? No, he has not. He has not looked at the specs.
Otherwise, have a quick look at it before they go out. Usually catch some. Not that he's a gas man, so.
Well, the specs were based upon the recommendations from, of course, the electrician engineering side, and it was also the recommendation. There is a standard out there that if you have X amount of gallons per pool, that you have a heater that is capable of this level of output and input productivity. But there are only 3 models of units out there that can actually perform that service.
There is a motion on the floor, and a second. Do you want to kill it, or do you want to vote on it? Okay, a motion and a second has been made to approve the specification and take sealed bids. When we need to call for a vote.
Councilman Johnston?
Yes.
Muscat?
Yes.
Rennie?
Yes.
Rolfart?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.